Hello and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Kelsey. I'm a clinical naturopath, and today we are talking about why some foods make you feel really bloated, really gassy. It's a great topic, but hopefully I can shed some insight on why this actually happens and some tips and tools to actually help you through it. One food in particular that I feel like gets a really bad rap is beans and legumes. We can have a lot in our diet, and sometimes when we have a certain amount of beans or legumes, we can get really gassy and we can really feel this really bloated, uncomfortable feeling. So in this episode, I really wanted to dive in why this happens and some tips and tricks that you can actually utilize to actually support your gut health through this. So I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kelsey. I'm a clinical naturopath and the owner and founder of the Intuitive Health Studio. These podcasts are to give you some insight and some education. They're not replacement for professional health advice. So please make sure that you don't change anything before seeking professional help. So let's get into the episode. So I want to ask you this question. How do you feel after you eat beans? Whether it's in nachos, whether it's in a burrito, whether it's in a curry or a dal, how do you feel afterwards? If you are feeling bloated, gassy, really uncomfortable, we need to take a step back and actually look at the compound of the legumes itself and then find ways to actually help your body break it down easier, because it is all about what the structure is and how that structure goes into your gut and actually breaks down. And that is how we can actually support your body to be able to tolerate more if you want to tolerate more. So when we are looking at legumes, they have a complex carbohydrate structure. This is where a lot of the issues come from, is because when we have a complex carbohydrate structure in this particular way, it is harder for your gut to actually digest. So instead of breaking down all in the small intestine, they actually move down to the large intestine as well to be able to properly break down. Now, let's take a step back for a minute. We need to understand the digestive system as well. So our digestion starts in our mouth, especially for starches and some carbohydrates and some fats. If we're not chewing thoroughly, that means that bigger load comes onto our small intestine and our large intestine to actually break down the foods. So when we're looking at this, if we're eating too fast, eating and drinking at the same time, these two aspects can put extra load on your gut. So if you get a really tasty curry or really tasty dal and you just want to have it all at once and then you feel really uncomfortable and bloated afterwards, step one is to take a step back and slow down, making sure that you're actually eating slowly and eating the food properly. Going back to the structure, when we are looking at the gut as well, it is full of different complex enzymes and processes to actually properly break down these complex structures and for it to be absorbed into the body and the nutrients utilized throughout our body. If we don't have the proper bacteria there as well, this can also put this extra load on your intestines to actually break it down. So if we have a mixture of not so great and great bacteria, and we have this complex carbohydrate, which is full of fiber is what feeds our good bacteria. What can happen is if we don't have enough of the good stuff, we're feeding the not so good stuff, which can create this bloating or fermentation in our gut. That leads to the gassiness and that feeling afterwards. Another thing to note, which I find really interesting, is when we're looking at, again, the structure of legumes and plant sources of protein are incomplete proteins. What this means is they don't contain all of the essential 9 amino acids to form a complete protein. We find complete proteins in our animal-based sources. So this can also alter the digestibility rates of the legumes as well. There's other factors that can also play a role in how our legumes are digested, and this is why working with a practitioner is really important, because they can help you put all the pieces together and be able to support you in making a proper treatment plan, so you're actually focusing on the right thing. Because why some people can tolerate legumes more than others is because there's a wide range of things. There could be gut microbiome diversity, so that's that bacteria balance. It could be the digestive enzyme production. If you don't have enough of the enzymes to actually break them down, that puts extra load on your gut and going to that bloating and fermentation. Your overall gut health, is your gut health inflamed? Do you have enough of these enzymes and bacteria to break it down? Do you have a good gut lining to help support this breaking down? Is your gut moving too slow? Is it your gut moving too fast? Like, those aspects also play a role in it. And with that, our gut-brain axis has a major component in it, because if we're eating and if we're stressed, that also changes how fast our intestines are moving and our ecosystem in our gut as well. And like I just said, how fast you're eating. If you're eating super fast, that puts extra load on your gut. So it's not just about the food itself. As you can see what I've just said, it's not just about the food. It's not just about your gut. It's the combination that we really, really need to look at holistically. And it's important to look at it holistically. Now, all of this isn't to say that, okay, doing all this you're automatically going to be able to tolerate these legumes more easily. Obviously, there might be some extra work that you have to put in, and that's why working with a practitioner is super beneficial to do so. In the meantime, ways that you can support your gut to actually digest the legumes. I wanted to go through these. So I have 6 things to help. So number 1 is soak the dried beans overnight and make sure you rinse well. By soaking and rinsing, you are essentially helping get rid of some of the starches that could create these fermentation and starting to break down this complex structure a little bit more. So I really like to help my clients with digestion. We need to look at ways to put less load on our gut. And we do that through these methods. We can do this through soaking our foods, blending our foods, making sure that our foods are cooked thoroughly, because this helps with the digestive load and can help things digest a bit easier. Another thing that I just mentioned is cooking thoroughly. So making sure you're cooking your beans thoroughly. You're not eating anything raw. Raw can be very, very, very complex structure, so it can be really hard for your gut to digest if you don't have those mechanisms in place. And we want to start small and build up gradually. I am a very big advocate of not going all hard all at once, really starting to actually add in things slowly. So it may look like, if you never had beans or you've taken a break from legumes, it's not about, okay, let's have legumes, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Maybe it's adding 1/4 cup to a curry for one night and then not having anything else or any more legumes until the next week. So having it once a week. And then once you're okay, you start adding a little bit more. And it really depends how much you actually want to include them into your diet. Legumes are great because they have a lot of good fiber and they're a good protein source as well. Another thing that we can do is actually pair the legumes with a grain, so with a whole grain or a rice or pita bread, what this does is actually help it make a complete protein, which can also support our digestion and support the digestion process as well. A major factor is managing stress levels. So when we're eating slowly, chewing thoroughly, but also relaxing our body, you would be surprised how many people are actually stressed all the time subconsciously, and you're holding on to a lot of tension. You're holding on to your abdomen. You're tensing up there, tensing in your shoulders, tensing in your neck, but particularly your abdomen, you're tensing up, which means that things don't move the way that they should. Like the peristalsis, which is like the movement of the food through your digestion, is not being as efficient as it would if you're in a relaxed state. This again puts more pressure on the small intestine, the large intestine, and its ecosystem, and it can lead to that bloating, gassing feel. I want to note that if you're experiencing pain, discomfort, fluctuations in your bowel movements, if you have found any mucus or blood in the stool, you need to get this further investigated. This is super important that you go to your GP or health practitioner to make sure you get this investigated so you can be properly supported on this journey. So, overall, let's recap. Legumes. Legumes can be not so great for the gut. And that is because it is a complex structure. It takes a lot to actually break down a legume. And if you don't have the proper bacteria, gut health is not in order, your stress levels are high, you're eating too fast, you don't have enough of the digestive enzymes, this can all put a load on your digestion and create more of this opportunity for the gassiness, the fermentation, the bloating to occur. So we want to first slow down, help this complex structure get broken down a little bit more through soaking, making sure that we're cooking our foods thoroughly, having smaller portions and slowly, gradually building up, and managing our stress levels, keeping calm, relaxing our tummy. These are all things that can really support with breaking down legumes. And I really wanted to chat about this because legumes are a powerhouse for nutrients, and it's not something that should be going to the side. We should really see if we can figure out some strategies to actually rebuild them. Obviously, if things are still continuing, there are options to do some further investigation, go to your health practitioner, come into the clinic. We can do functional testing like a complete microbiome test. We can do food and symptom diaries. We can work out the best diet plan. We are here to support you. I am here to support you. So you can jump on my website, intuitivehealthstudio.com, and make sure you follow me on Instagram, Intuitive Health Studio. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really hope you got some insights out of it. And if you have any questions, don't be scared to reach out. I am here to help you. Okay, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.